What's up guys, Joe with Tradger Farms. I'm a habitat specialist with Whitetail Habitat Solutions alongside Jeff Sturgis and the gang. Hope everyone is doing well. It's the weekend, so we are back to work up on the farm. As you can see right now, today's video is actually going to be on tractors. Was lucky enough to grab a larger compact tractor from John Deere. Is that an oxymoron? I'm not sure. Anyway, so we're having a ton of fun with this. Super blessed, lucky to be able to get this tractor to at least get a lot of the chores around here out of the way without breaking your back. And so I want to talk about, for those of you that might be considering getting a tractor, what you can do with it, if it's going to be worth it. Maybe you already have a tractor and you haven't thought of some of the things that you could be using it for. Buying a couple more implements if that's in the budget. Or if it's not something that you have and it's not something in the budget, if it's something that you will want in the future, maybe you want to save for it because you think it'll be beneficial, then great. Now, I did get at least one comment a while back, and it was more geared towards only providing information for people that can afford this kind of equipment. And that's so far from the truth. I hope, a lot of you don't perceive it that way, because that, just like Jeff and most of us, I had the property before I ever had a four-wheeler. I was carrying 5-gallon jugs by hand to the back of the property using a backpack sprayer. And most of you guys were the exact same way when you started. So as the channel continues, if you've been following along, you're already aware. If you're new, welcome. But we will cover all different types of planting processes, no-till and our buckwheat system that we use a lot with WHS, things you can do with the tractor, problems we run into and troubleshooting them, all kinds of different stuff. So please don't take any of this out of context, and I want to answer all your questions and help no matter what situation you're in. So today, again, going to be touching on what we can do with the tractor, especially when it comes to your hunting property. And one of the first things I think many of us think of is being able to brush hog. Okay, brush hog, it's the mower that can go on the back. You can get them at all kinds of different widths. But many of the things I'm going to be using a brush hog for would be like keeping our access trails up. Sometimes you have access trails in the woods. Sometimes you have access trails through fields. Maybe we've planted a type of screen and we want to keep that at bay, spray it, mow it. A mower can be perfect for that. And that's where also width comes into play. If you already have a brush hog or you're looking at getting one, our human trails we like nice and straight. So that way the deer really don't like to sit on them and feel protected. We want to be able to access without bumping deer, of course. And so, you could do a couple passes if you got the normal, 6-foot or smaller compact tractor. For those of you that have a bat wing, some 10, 12, 14 foot, you might want to think about that, because while yes, maybe a pass or so, or a pass and a half or something for your access trail would be appropriate. If you need to create, let's say, a path of least resistance for the deer, you want to create that travel corridor, if you will, and you want to be maneuverable, you're not going to want to be taking a 12-foot batwing mower through the woods. And I'm sure those cost a pretty penny. So that's something to keep in mind when you consider purchasing a brush hog, a rotary cutter, and things of that nature. So for the most part, those are the two main things. You can also do a ton of other ancillary stuff. Maybe you're upkeeping an area for storage in a barn and you just want to mow a larger area without using the zero turn. If we've had a zero turn, and we did all of our mowing before this tractor with the zero turn, and that's not a smooth ride, guys. It's quite backbreaking. When I first planted this 12, 13 acres of switchgrass, and I needed to mow to keep weeds at bay in that first year and a little bit in the second year, it was rough. I was very sore. It was all day. It was pretty bad, not gonna lie. And so to have something like this, whether it's a open station, a cab, air ride, not air ride seat, it's gonna be much more enjoyable than bouncing up and down with skinny tires. And of course, there's different riding zero-turn lawn mowers. But for the most part, a huge blessing on that, which reminds me of being able to maintain switchgrass. And what I mean by that, guys, is, you've planted a stand, let's say, and you're 5 years in, and maybe you're getting a bunch of broadleaves pushing through and they're starting to take over a little bit. We can go, especially in the growing season when that switch is growing, go and mow that down. and that's going to reset it. So when that switch takes off in the heat of the season, it can outcompete those broadleafs. Again, you've set it back, it's going to shoot up, and you have a nicer stand that can shade a lot of that out, and you'll be good for a lot. Outside of that, guys, being able to get a hitch and tow a trailer or something to use. Maybe you're dumping material to build a culvert. Maybe you need to bring out fencing because you have new plantings you want to protect, tree stand equipment, and get that set up. Many of you may have a UTV. Well, I know many of our clients have or do have a UTV, and that can pull quite a bit of weight. Maybe not as much as something like a tractor can, but still pretty awesome, and you can do that with that as well. But like myself, I do not have a UTV, so I kind of get, in a way, the best of both worlds. Even though I can only fit one person in here, I can still tow a ton of weight and get that done, and my friends can get a little exercise. Outside of towing, of course, you have the bucket. And I know some of this might seem redundant, but I think when it comes to, or obvious, I should say, a lot of this stuff really pertains to managing these type of properties. So if you already have been in that boat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But let's say you cut down a tree and you want to gather all the wood without getting a trailer, just be quicker about it. You can load typically a lot in these buckets. Maybe you like to do firewood, you're cutting down trees, maybe you're working on bedding areas, and you want to chop that up, load the bucket up, and get it out of here. And then, of course, the different attachments you can put on this, like pallet forks, which reminds me about doing blinds, moving blinds. I think, I have some 10-foot towers, I have some blinds on the ground and different things of that nature, and I think that being able to use a pallet fork, maybe get some 5-footers if your tractor can reach 10 feet, being able to move those blinds seamlessly as you guys want to tweak things or add blinds is huge. I really have to get help every time I've wanted to move these blinds or set up a new one, and it's kind of a pain. No one wants to keep asking for help over and over again, so being able to take care of that stuff, putting a blind on a trailer, towing it that way, so many different things, but those pallet forks, great. And a lot of the equipment, whether you're ordering it for a tractor, blinds, what have you, you either have to get it dropped off at a shipping yard and pick it up with the truck, and then you got to unload it from the truck, or they go to your house, but they do not guarantee getting it off. You have to figure it out, or have something like pallet forks that can lift it off the truck trailer and be done that way. So another thing that's a huge blessing when it comes to equipment and other stuff that you need to move around. So when it comes to also cleaning up the property, the woods, things like that, if you have some unwanted stumps like that guy right there, you can get stump grinders, which are fantastic because you can get those stumps buried below the surface, and you can continue on the trail, whether you're just driving on it or you're towing something. You might know that it's a pain to be hitting those with your tires. It's bouncy, you break a lot more stuff, and there's probably a million other attachments I can go to, but I'm really only covering the ones that I have my eye on, or the basic ones that I've already bought. In addition to the stump grinding, you can look at things like planting equipment. That could be seeders, it could be discs. Again, not necessary, and we will cover many different ways to plant, but for someone like myself, where often I have some areas that were a little wet at times, maybe I couldn't spray, or maybe the glyphosate resistant weeds were just too much and my cover crop wasn't working like we want it to, then I can go and I can just work that area of the ground, plant that separately, and be done with it and get a good food plot, which is super, super important, as you guys know if you've been following myself or Jeff, of course, on YouTube. Outside of then some planting, planter, forks, grapple. So these brush piles, maybe you mowed stuff down, or you dropped some trees and you made some piles. The grapple, while maybe not the first thing that you need, is a very nice attachment to have when it comes to cleaning up woods. Maybe you were doing some cutting back there and it's just too thick, your basal area is too much, and you want to alleviate some of that by removing it, or just making piles even back there so that the deer have plenty of room to move through. The grapple is going to be the perfect tool for that. The last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is digging attachments. You can see here I have been doing quite the project, which is why, again, I probably haven't posted for a week or so I apologize, but it is messy. I spent a full day basically digging this trench, which is going to be a culvert because I can barely get into the barn here. To make a long story short, the main road out here, the city drainage is on the other side, and I'd either have to bore something under because there's nothing on this side, which would be quite expensive, if it's even possible for angle at the laser level and see if that's even possible, or go towards my fields out here, in which case it actually goes up a little bit and then back down and it's wet again. So I have a lot of additional work that really doesn't even have to do much with hunting besides accessing it with my equipment and getting good access to work on the farm. And it's been a struggle. So I'm gonna kind of spread the water out here. I'm gonna have a couple culverts to get into the barn, and I'm also gonna do probably another culvert over this road and dig another kind of trench over here just so I can hold and run water to the best that the ground will allow. And I'll do some more out in the fields. I don't think I'm gonna spend 40 grand tiling stuff. It's just, again, we are not farmers. Like Jeff says, guys, the cash crop is not my goal. It's to have a fun property and big deer running around and to have a good time with my family and friends. So I did actually most of this with just the bucket, but of course you have the backhoe attachments. They're quite expensive for those that we have clients that do have a plethora of equipment and excavators and all that good stuff, but the bucket can do quite a bit. You can get teeth for the bucket to help with digging, which I did not even have for this. And you can get those attachments, those backhoe attachments for the back of the tractor. Again, kind of expensive. I believe around $10,000-$15,000 for those, depending on the size of your tractor and how much power you want to have, what its capacity is. But moving that around and doing a little bit of digging, maybe making some retention ponds, maybe it's just digging for your water holes. Tons of uses for that, guys. That can be helpful. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of some of the things I think about when I'm trying to budget and think about equipment and what's going to be, the most important stuff that I have going on in the farm that I need help with. We break our backs working by hand a lot. I'm going to be doing actually shoveling right now, even though I have this equipment. So whatever we can do to stay healthy and get the work done is great. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. I will do more videos on the tractor itself and differences and things like that, because I know some of you are probably gonna ask me about the tractor. It will get posted and we'll have a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you soon.